Okay, good evening, everyone. Sorry we're starting a little bit late, but we had a forum seminar on open government presented by Bob Freeman, which was very, very exceptionally and well done and very informative. Okay, so I'll call to order the May 1st meeting of the Wilton Town Board, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Supervisor Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Lant.
Here.
Councilwoman Klepetar.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Stryker.
Here.
Councilman McEachran.
Here. Okay, thank you. Kirk, is there anybody signed up there for public comment?
No.
Okay, we'll move on. First item of business is the minutes pending from our April meeting. Is there any motion to adopt the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we adopt them.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
A second. Any recommended changes, amendments to those minutes? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Tonight we have with us the Friends of Wilton Recreation. It's a non-for-profit that was created, back a year or so ago, probably longer. And the creating members are here, Joe Bartol and Stu Ledoux. And they've got a fundraising campaign they'd like to introduce and talk to you folks about. So, Joe or Stu?
Can people fill their orders out before they leave?
That would be great.
You don't get out unless
Again, my name is Joe Bartol. We started the group Friends of Wilton Recreation, and we are, for those of you that don't know us, we are a 501(c). We probably got from the IRS, if you want to say, March of last year. So everything that is donated is tax deductible, and it goes back into Gavin Park, into the park. So we kind of made Wilton Recreation, so hopefully down the road, we'll have other than Gavin Park. But anyway, the funds that we do collect, we will be putting back into Gavin Park. We're hoping to, we've got a nice walking trail around the park. We're hoping maybe collect some of these funds at this time and put some workout stations around the track. And just do a lot of the small projects around there. The town's doing a great job with the park, with a lot of the major parks, and we just feel a group like Friends of Wilton Recreation will be able to, put some money back in and do those small projects. So we've been going out. We have been soliciting businesses the last year or so. We've done a memorial bench. We actually got another scoreboard for the Gavin Park, for the Gavin Gym. So now we have one on each end. We were able to get a donation there. So we decided to just do a little fundraiser and see what we can do. We do have the forms here. You can go on our website, friendsofwiltonrec.com. You can order through there also. We have different size pavers. You can put your own family in there, or just, maybe a loved one that you'd like to put their name in there. The engraver is a local gentleman, Glenn Ward. He's going to do the engraving. He's done a lot of bricks. I've seen them over for Skidmore, and they've been up for quite a few years, and they're still looking like brand new. So, it won't be something that's going to get all mold on it, and you won't see it in a couple years. So make sure we stay on top of it.
What size is it?
Yes, so we got the bricks. We got pavers 4x8. We do have the 8x8s too. So. But again, friendsofwiltonrec.com, get on there if you want, or we got the order forms here. What we want to do is to have them in the ground by Park Fest, and then we'll just have an unveiling. And this will be an ongoing project, but we'd really like to have a big kickoff there at Park Fest and go from there.
So these are the pavers around the area around the flagpole and stuff?
Correct, yeah. The flagpole at Gavin Park. There's like 4,000 pavers in there now, and Pete Gaylor's going to help us with it. And he's the one that originally put the bricks in, and he's going to help us with the new ones, put them in, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Any questions for Joe?
No?
Just want to express our thanks, Joe, for your work on this, and
Yeah, I got some great people that I'm working with, so get on our website and check it out. All right? Thanks again.
Thank you.
Next is the townwide traffic study update. This is the update that we do periodically, every 3-4 years. And the study is the basis for how we use our traffic mitigation fees that are charged developers as they do projects in town. Ryan, you may want to elaborate a little bit more, and then we have Peter Faith here, has a proposal, who has done our past traffic updates, to give us a proposal. But Ryan, just want to tell us a little bit about the study and how it works.
Yeah, looking for the board to accept the proposal from Peter Faith and Freeman Peterson. Actually, asked Peter to come in and describe, the description of, the traffic study, what it encompasses, the history of it. And if you want, you can come forward and present. You've got a handout too.
Yeah, Brian did ask me, since there was a lot of new members on the board, and they weren't around when we first did the original study back in 1992. I think maybe you were around back then.
Yeah, I was.
Well, I decided to provide this handout, and this handout is actually a chapter that I was asked to write from the New York State Department of Transportation as an example of good practice in doing traffic mitigation throughout the state of New York. And as I said, I provided this, so it was, I thought, a good background. And I'm not going to go through all of it today, but I want to hit the highlights just to give the board, I have something has some questions. But as everyone's well aware, back in the 80s and 90s, there was substantial growth within the town, residential growth, and the town leaders and the planning department had the insight to do a townwide traffic study as a way of helping to manage the growth. What the advantage of doing a study is that there was an actual plan in place for town roads on what types of traffic improvements would be needed 10, 20 years in the future, and there was a mechanism for how to pay those. A lot of communities, individual small housing projects would come in, 20, 30, even 100 units, and they each do their own individual traffic studies, and each one of those studies would have minimal impact, and it wouldn't be any contribution towards long-range traffic improvements. The town had the foresight to establish this study and develop a mitigation fee structure so that each one of those housing units that got built contributed a small amount towards the traffic mitigation fund. The study also identified the types of improvements that would have been constructed to mitigate some of the traffic congestion that would have been created. And there's a listing here of several examples of some of the turn lanes and other traffic improvements that have been built through those mitigation fees without really any cost to the town, because the cost of doing a study is also rolled into the mitigation fees. But the study that traffic engineers do in these situations, the steps that we go through is we assess the existing traffic conditions, we look at land use forecast, and for this type of study, we'll forecast 10 years out into the future. So 2015 now, we'll work with the planning staff to 2025. What do we think is going to happen between now and then? I think one significant thing, too, that we'll look at, there's a lot of housing units that have been built but not occupied right now. So we'll account for that and try to see how much additional traffic would be generated once those units are occupied. But then we do our traffic forecast to see what the traffic flow is going to be like, projected in 2025 if the land use gets achieved. And we look for future problems and identify spot improvements here or there that could be funded by traffic mitigation fees that all of the developers will contribute into. It's not only residential units, but also commercial properties also kick in the funds based on their square footage basis. So in here, there's a listing of the current mitigation fees. For example, a single-family resident contributes $524 each home, each building permit for a single-family home. Hotel, $343 per room, and so forth. So every land use within the town is accounted for. Every projected land use in the town is accounted for. I think the study's been very successful in the town for a lot of reasons, but I think it shows it's a good cooperation, it's a cooperative relationship with the developers in the town. They're willing to pay the fee. They don't have to pay for individual traffic studies to get through the site plan review process unless it's a very large project or there's some specific reason why you want to do a study for outdoor access. The development community thinks the fees are reasonable, so they don't really challenge it. They'd rather just pay it to keep a good relationship with the community. I think the community accepts it because there's tangible improvements. You can actually see the money being spent for traffic improvements through some of the key town intersections. So that's why it's been a win-win, I think, for everybody. As the supervisor said, we do these updates every 3 to 5 years to make sure the fees are reasonable, make sure our land use projections are on track. There hasn't been any significant change in terms of an upturn or a downturn in the forecasts. We also try to focus on a different part of the town each time we do an update to make sure we haven't missed anything. So by the time we go all the way around, we've got everything covered pretty well. We also, in recent years, we've started investigating opportunities for non-motorized transportation as a way of mitigating traffic impacts and using the fees that have been collected in a little bit innovative way, but we've been looking for opportunities in that regard. And this time, for the first time, we're actually going to be looking at accident history, looking at safety at a few town intersections to be selected. We'll work with the town to identify that. We haven't done that in the past. We've only focused on traffic impacts and operations, but we haven't looked at safety. So this time around, we're going to start looking at safety at a couple of key intersections to see if there's any problems and if there's anything that we can change to address those problems with the mitigation funds. So that's my quick summary of how we got here. I'm certainly willing to answer any questions on the history and our current proposal.
Questions for Peter?
You touched a little bit on non-motorized. Of course, that's of interest to me very much. What might be the next step if the town of Wilton wanted to be more pedestrian and bike friendly? Would there have to be a committee, or would you?
Yeah, Ryan and I talked about this. I think it's certainly within the realm of the traffic study and the mitigation funds to find projects that would help encourage non-motorized transportation. But there isn't currently a plan in place as to what the community wants in terms of a network of either sidewalks, trails, neighborhood connectivity, or improved shoulders so people can use the bikes. We really don't, we're not going to focus on that as part of this study. We don't have the budget to do that as part of this study. But if there's a parallel effort, if there is a group that we can meet with as part of the study that says, this is our ultimate plan, this is our wish list of 10 connections or 15 projects that we'd like to have somebody build, we can then work with that as part of our capital improvement plan that we prepare as part of our study and pick one or two perhaps of those projects to put in the list. The other thing that Ryan and I kicked around as a potential is it relates to the shoulders. If there's a road that needs to be repaved, and it's one of the roads that have been identified as would be great if there were wider shoulders as part of the overall network for allowing people to use the shoulder to ride bikes or other modes. Then, when Kurt gets to that road in his program, maybe there's some additional funds available to upgrade the shoulders in addition to just repaving the road.
Yeah, we figured you utilize some of these funds to widen the shoulder. It serves two purposes. It helps out, create a wider shoulder, it's safer, and also for the structure of the road as well. It improves structural quality of the road.
It'd be nice if our kids could walk to Gavin Park or...
Well, that's something we need to identify, what areas need to, have wider shoulders. That's Kirk's paving program, what roads he's going to be paving. So when he's doing it, he can just something.
Does the town have a trail committee or anything like that?
Not that I know of.
Not an official one, no. We do have a pathways plan as part of the open space plan, and Kirk actually has been on, there is a designated roads that require shoulders, wider shoulders when Kirk repaves, and he has been doing that, but it's probably outdated. It's I don't know how old it is, but and it identifies off-road paths, NIMO easements and the trolley bed easements, and a whole bike route, Route 9. It's all in there, but it could probably use some updating at some point.
Well, maybe that's a good starting point then. If the town can, again, have a parallel path, look at that and update that and get that to Ryan, then we can incorporate that somehow.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody on this board that wouldn't like to see wider roads, safer roads for people. So,
Yeah, actually, I think in the last traffic study, we had that multi-path along that Car Road, Jones Road.
We had
and
that. We also had, I think, a sidewalk connection down in the,
Jody?
well, I'm thinking down by the...
Jody wasn't in existence
Kick Road, is it?
in 92.
Not Kick Road, but the road behind Walmart in that area to connect the apartment complex to...
Old Kick.
Yeah, the old Kick Road, to the
Mansford
Walmart shopping.
Apartments.
Again, it's a way to maybe able to serve a population that may not have cars, allow them to get, reach the retail destinations easier.
Well, it's definitely something young families are looking for when they locate. It's priority. That farmer's market, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and multi-use trails is right up there, as you know. You're in the business.
Okay, so you have a proposal before you from Green Peterson. Peter is one of the partners. So
I make a motion, we do it, we spend the money.
Okay, is there a second to John's motion to approve the traffic study update with Green Peterson?
I second the motion to update it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion or
The
questions?
discussion I have is when the study is finished, that the town, we agree with what you find in the study, unlike the 92 study.
Well, you're going to present the study. It'll be as a draft, and we have a chance for input.
And during the conduct of the study, there's no surprise. I'm planning on working very closely with Ryan throughout the process so that at the end of the day, and before we make the presentation to the town board to adopt the findings, the recommendations are vetted so that they're appropriate. But yeah, the conclusion of the study includes a presentation back to this board on what the findings and recommendations are.
And this allows the use of medication fees to pay for many of these
For the items.
items in the study. And we have, what, about 600,000 in that account now?
760.
Okay, if there's no other discussion or questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Next, the Gavin Park refund policy. I think, Steve, this is you?
Yes, after speaking with our comptroller, he pointed out that Gavin Park, we didn't have an official policy for refunds regarding facility rentals or any programs that someone might have to cancel or want to get a refund. So we wanted to put together a refund policy, put it on the website, make sure it's that I spoke with Nancy, I spoke with Steve Porto, and they agreed to this policy. They thought, they looked at, Steve Porto looked at it, he liked it, and wanted to present it to the rest of the board.
I think this was sent out during the week. I think everybody's had a chance to take a look at it. It's just a procedure whereby if you cancel at before a certain period of time, and other conditions that the refund is, you can obtain a refund. And I think, Steve did a nice job with it. Any questions of Steve on the policy?
The one thing that we did also do is, for internal controls, if there was a refund of $500 or more, we wanted a second signature on the refund policy. So if we were given a refund of $510, Steve would have to sign off on it, or the liaison to the park, or the town supervisor in the future. So there's, basically an internal control of making sure that we're following the procedure of the policy.
Okay, under 500, just
Under 500, just the signature of the,
discretion of the park director.
yes.
Any questions? Would someone like to move the refund policy for adoption?
I can make a motion that we accept the new refund policy at Gavin Park as stated.
Okay, this motion made, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion, and now there's a second. Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. Next, we're proposing local law number 1 of 2014, which is the best value methodology, and I'll let our controller explain just what that is.
This is something new that the State Controller's Office allows municipalities to do, is by passing a local law, we'll now be able to purchase goods and services not only just by the lowest bidder, but also taking effect the quality. The example that they used at the conference was, truck A may be $1,000 more, but it gets better gas mileage, okay? So they can use different parameters now when purchasing goods, when we go out to bid, and it's not just based on the lowest cost. But in order to do that, we have to have a local law on the books, which will amend our procurement policy to include that.
I put forth the motion.
Well, this is just to set a public hearing, because it is a local law.
Okay.
Right.
A local law.
This has, under state law, this can only be done by local law, and any local law requires a public hearing. So if the board wants to proceed with this, which many towns are doing, you could schedule a public hearing for next month.
Yeah. Saratoga County is doing the same thing this month as well. So, for an agreement, I'll set the public hearing for June 5th, 7 p.m. Are there any committee reports?
I have something to discuss. It's not my committee. We still have 2 openings on our ethics advisory board, and I believe at the present time it has to be a unanimous decision by the board to accept the applicant. I would like to make a motion to change that, so that either 3 or 4 people that would approve the applicant would be acceptable. Is that possible?
I think you've got to have a public hearing. If we're amending...
Yeah, again, I think it's part of our local code, in which case yes, it's possible, but first we have to schedule a public hearing to do so.
So,
Okay.
I don't have a problem putting that on a...
I thought we did that.
No.
Set it up for last month, we discussed it.
No, we're amending an existing, so it has to be a public hearing.
It's part of our
Right.
code, yeah, which I think it is.
All right, so we'll put that amendment also on the public hearing for June 5th for 7:10.
And just so it's clear, are we talking about simple majority or 4?
Well, majority.
Simple majority. Okay.
That's what we want.
Yes. Joanne?
Yes.
All right, so you want the amendment simple majority?
Yes.
Okay. And we will get those two vacancies filled.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one other thing.
Oh.
It's not a committee report, but I got a call from a resident on Woodland Drive, Florence Anderson, and she reported to me that the road is in bad shape, but she said that it was all cracked, and then when the town sweeper went by, now it's got big potholes in it. So I told her I'd bring it up board and just make that announcement, so, I don't know.
So Kirk, will you take a look at Woodland Road, see what she's talking about?
Yeah, something to discuss in a while.
Thank you.
Too bad I got something.
Okay.
Kirk approached me last week. He's got chemicals he buys, hazmat stuff, and they're supposed to give him an MSDS sheets. Probably all our buildings have hazardous materials, and MSD sheets tells if you spill it, how to clean it up, gets in your eye. I think this law might have changed. I know the fire service hazmat 2014, it changed some, maybe this did, but I'd like to have Mark look into it, see what we have to do to comply with the state. We should have somebody get a list, because I know years ago...
Chemical control list, basically, for OSHA guidelines.
Right.
Actually, this in the
He says
process...
he has nothing.
What's actually being done, Nancy Riley, as safety officer, is actually putting the whole thing together. And it'll be all up to date, and then only as you buy something else, just make sure that that sheet is in the products, in this booklet that she's putting together.
Okay.
And it's covering all the products, not only here in Town Hall and the highway.
The whole town, anything we own being done.
So,
I know Mark had his hand up first, sorry.
The state law, the fire code, and OSHA both say that the end user is responsible for maintaining the MSDS for the products that they take in. So let's say I have to have DEF for a vehicle of mine, and I keep it in the maintenance shed out here. I have to maintain the MSDS sheet. And there should be a record there where it's stored and a record somewhere else.
I think that's what, Nancy's getting everything up to date, and then she's gonna give the highway department theirs, building yours, and then you just gotta keep it up to date.
Correct.
They're doing the MSDS sheets now. And these MSDS sheets are a very important piece of paper for everybody that participates in whatever department. The MSDS sheets gives you a lot of information on what you're using, how to use it, and all of that. There is a problem with the MSDS sheets, and it still exists unless the town board decides who is going to be in charge of the MSDS sheets. For example, I got 18 individuals. Any one of those 18 individuals have a way of purchasing the product. They're out in the field and they get 2 tubes of glue, for example, they get an MSDS sheet. What happens to the MSDS sheet? If we use one, okay, fine. If there's one that returns to the garage when you get done doing your job, we have to have an MSDS sheet in that shop for that 1 tube of glue, believe it or not. It paints, everything. My problem is in the highway department is you have so many people purchasing the different kinds of products that you might have to have an MSDS sheet for, okay? It becomes a nightmare because sometimes it doesn't get filed where it should be, or the vendor doesn't give you an MSDS sheet for it. They will get you an MSDS sheet if you require it, or if you say I want an they'll send you one, not a problem. So the guy walks out with his product, he doesn't have the MSDS sheet, eventually 2 or 3, could be a month, could be later, you get an MSDS sheet in the mail. There really needs to be, in this town, with the parks and rec, buildings and grounds, highway, all of the departments, there needs to be a person that keeps track of these MSDS sheets on a weekly basis and update it at the end of the year and pull out all the old stuff that's no good, because sometimes you use the product, it's all gone, got an MSDS sheet in the book, you don't have the product, the sheet's no good.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a problem.
Each department's gonna have to keep up with it.
Nancy, the town safety officer?
Yeah.
Well, that's who.
She's got it up to date, but then it's, go ahead, Mark.
They're available online.
And just like Kurt said, they order a whole lot of stuff. It would be impossible for one person to go from his department to Carl to here and figure out what they ordered on any given day. It's the end user. If the foreman orders it and he tells, let's say he orders something from Napa that requires an MSDS sheet. If he tells Napa, I need an MSDS sheet for this, when Napa delivers the product, they will deliver the MSDS sheet. They have to by law. They can't wait 2 weeks to deliver it because it has health and safety data on it.
So what do you do when you go to Lowe's and you get a tube of glue for catch basins and they
If
don't
that's
have?
what you need, if you need an MSDS.
Lowe's should have it on
You
file.
need an MSDS sheet because they have to.
They have to have it if it's in their building.
Storing it in the store.
All right. Yeah, Rick.
The MSDS system is changing right now.
They dropped the M.
They dropped one of the letters in there. Right. And like the placards, you know, the red, blue, yellow, white placards, they mean completely different things now due to OSHA's global harmonization system. So sometime in 2016 is when compliance to this
It's
regulation
standardized.
is necessary. So there's changes to your standard.
Changes are coming.
You see,
Big
Mark-
changes are coming.
See, Mark, it hasn't happened in the last couple of years, that's why I think things might have changed. Anything we bought, my garage used to get it. We don't get them anymore from anybody.
You have to ask them.
I used to just bring them.
You can get them online too.
Right, online is how we're gonna do it at the fire department and at Lance Auto
Well,
Sales.
John, let me ask you, if you're going to do it online, then do you have a person designated to go online to get that sheet?
Anything that comes in the garage, I handle.
So who takes care of that?
John's in charge of the computers.
I take care of it.
So you know what you got, whatever. Now, in highway department, for example, if you can go online or whatever to get it,
No, what you said was if somebody went to Napa and bought a can of paste or glue,
whatever.
he can get the sheet right there when he picks it up. He just has to ask for it. They have to have it there. If they sell it, they have to have it. Absolutely, they're selling the product.
You're gonna have to get-
They have to be OSHA compliant too.
I guess you got to do like an in-service with your guys and talk to them about.
And as far as the ones where you don't have the product, you can still save the sheet, because if you ever get the product back, it's there. You would have just signed someone to coordinate that stuff and get it and put it in the book, in the
I talked to the county, I called the county on this because I was concerned, and the county, the general manager at the county told me that they have a department that takes care of just, period, nothing else. All they take care of is MSDS sheets. That's what the county general foreman told me. So then when I went to talk to John, I told John about that, and then John seemed to think, I guess you think there's some changes coming down the road. We don't know that.
He brings it up, and
Yeah, the problem is our compliance with the MSDS should I get an inspector in the garage, and we don't have the sheet for a product he's looking at. That's the problem. And so far, thank God, we've never had a problem. We've had many, many inspectors in our garage. But I don't want that to happen where the town is responsible for whatever we didn't do.
you ever think of sending one of your foremen away and get him trained and let him do it? You have 3 of them, don't you? 3
Yeah, I
foremen?
do, but they're all busy, especially in the summer, out on the jobs or whatever, so you'd almost have to bring them in, like in the afternoon, maybe on overtime, to try to figure out what was purchased for the day, okay, and then enter it onto a computer. Somebody's got to enter it or get it from a computer.
Well, we gotta get it done.
You just designated somebody to do it. It's not that onerous. The hardest part is starting it.
Right.
And then once all your stuff's inventoried, as you bring them in one at a time, it's a one-person job. And that's what's being done now, is being inventoried.
You think we should have Mark look into it too, if any laws have changed, and
Yeah, Mark
our town lawyer.
Mark
Mark can work with the safety officer.
I'm talking about town lawyer. That's what I'm talking about. He's only got 3 people in his department. I don't think they've changed, maybe we better keep up to date with them.
We are.
I know how
Making every
it's legal.
effort. We will be compliant.
Okay.
The only thing I have to announce is tomorrow there'll be the fish stocking at Camp Saratoga, so everybody the fishermen will be able to
What
get
time
out
is
there
that?
starting tomorrow.
What time?
Between 9 and 9:30.
9:30?
It's kind of been delayed this year because the water's so cold. They can put the...
Kirk?
No, I'm just asking
Oh, okay.
before you get into committee reports.
We're done with the committee reports. Wait, what's,
No, go ahead.
controller's report?
Okay, the first one requires town board approval of the budget transfers and budget amendments. I do have a late entry for the budget amendment. It's additional $4,000 in the highway department to appropriate reserve office mitigation. Also increase the engineer transportation by $4,000, and that's the additional cost needed for the traffic study that we're doing.
So we need a motion to approve the budget transfers and amendments.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to transfer that to the, sorry, I just lost it. I make the motion.
As presented here,
Yeah,
I'll second the motion.
Just what you said.
just what you said.
Second it.
What you said.
Sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Steve. Okay, all those in favor of the transfers and amendments?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, the town's independent audit report for 2015 has been completed. Each town board member has a copy. It was put in the mailbox. Copies will file with the town clerk. We are, again, back to being GAAP compliant because of GAAP B45. It was another good year. There's no audit findings, no adjusting entries. Our fund balance did go down. Our unassigned fund balance went down from $6 million in 2012 to about $6,100,000, and that's basically due to setting up a capital project of $700,000 over in Gavin Park. But besides that, the report is online if anyone wants to see it. Like I said, it was a good audit, and the town's in good shape.
Jeff, thank you for your work on that. We always have good audit reports, and it wouldn't be that way without a good controller, so thank you.
Nice job.
Thanks. Next item, Kirk is requesting to go out to bid for a vehicle for his office. I believe it's his vehicle. So just asking the town board to approve Kirk to go out to bid. And I guess what we want to say is that we'll, subject to, I would say the controller and the liaison for the highway department. If once the bids come in, we can open them up in the next town board meeting, right, Kirk? The bids. And then we can set the amount then. I don't want to set the amount tonight.
So last month, I know we talked about different types of trucks. Did we come up with a final decision on what kind of truck we're looking for?
I think, John, you've been working with Kirk on that.
Yeah.
Tonka?
He wouldn't agree to the Tonka.
We'll just do the authorized Kirk to go out to bid for a truck.
I'll make that motion.
What was it, an F-150 or something similar to that?
Pickup truck.
Yeah, Okay, the motion is made by John, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Yeah, motion and a second.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moved.
Okay, the last item, Kirk is requesting to go out to Cornell again. So overnight travel, requires town board approval.
At Greenfield? Which Cornell?
Now,
Ithaca, is it?
I'll put forth a motion to authorize the monies towards Kirk's education at Cornell.
Second it.
A motion and a second. Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Kirk, did you have something else you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. Today, I've been working on this for a couple of weeks. I talked with John, and I called you on the phone. I was trying to get something before the board meeting, but I just got this information this afternoon. I think everybody knows the situation with all the sand on the roads in the town. Well, we have one sweeper. It's a vacuum sweeper. That's what we're doing our subdivisions with. We have another sweeper that goes on the front of a truck that you angle the broom and you kick it off to the side of the road. In regards to Councilwoman's suggestion about Woodland Drive up in the Luft area. These sweepers are very expensive when you buy them brand new. They're about $250,000. And I have to justify why we need it, first of all, and do we use it. Our sweeper right now, we use every day, and it's a catch vac system besides. So when we're doing catch basins around the town, we have to pull that sweeper off the job. And if it's 2 or 3 hours, he goes and uses the catch vac on it, and then he goes back sweeping when he gets done. That happens pretty much all summer. This machine we use, the one we have, we pretty much use it 7, 8, 9 months out of the year. We use it whenever we have to. 2 or 3 years ago, I was thinking about putting in for the second sweeper, and I put it off, but the time has come when the town of Wilton really needs a second sweeper. There's no way of getting around it. So I proceeded to talk to different people and companies and whatever about a sweeper. So anyway, the original sweeper that we have, the catch vac system that we have right now, okay, came from a company called Syncon, okay? When I talked to their salespeople, and he brought me some information today and some photographs of a machine that they have from another municipality. And they are on a schedule to replace their machine every 4 years. And there's some photographs, like you yourself. There's some photographs of the machine, okay? It's got 7,000 miles on it. It's got 1,100 hours, which is like brand new. And that machine right now is $238,000 brand spanking new. So it is a used machine, but it's well taken care of, well maintained. So I talked to the salesman this afternoon, and I apologize, I just got this information at 3 o'clock. He gave me a number on the sweeper, and I told him he was way too high on it. So I suggested a number, and he said that could be a doable number, maybe. So I went down to see Mr. Lanton, I talked with John this afternoon, and I called Art on the phone. I would like to see the town board do something with situation, because I can tell you right now, year after year after year, the sweeping is getting more and more, and we got more roads to do all the time, and we're taking another probably 3 or 4 miles of road this year. So to save this town a pile of money, I mean, you're looking at less than half the cost of a brand new one, or just about half. That's just my proposal. The board does it, okay. If not, we'll just keep doing what we're doing and get to the subdivisions whenever we can. And Lake, in Loughbury Lake is part of our problem, and that lady was talking to you about.
How many miles are on the one we have?
Maybe 30,000, Frank, probably. I would say 30,000 on the one we have right now. But the one we have now, we saved the cab and chassis and rehabbed it with the new system, if you remember that, a couple of years ago. This is stainless steel. I mean, the bodies, they last forever. They're a mechanical machine, but one thing about this machine is it's identical to the one we have. So any inventories that we have, brooms and filters and all that stuff, we've got the inventory in the shop for it. So that's what makes this a unique situation. I think Jeff, you looked something up on the computer this afternoon, and a couple of them, right?
Yeah, I made a phone call. Kirk was in the office when we just doing research, and it came up, and somebody had one for sale, the 2007. Same model, a couple years older.
Yeah, older, more miles and more hours.
They were asking, what,
120?
179.
Yeah, 179 for 2007. So I know we're trying to plan and do what we should do, but I know my phone's ringing off the hook about sweeping roads.
I'm sorry, it was 120 for the 2007, it was 179 for the 2010.
For the 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been an exceptional year, whether the storms, you use more sand, I know the cleanup has been tough, and I know the machine, they mechanically break down periodically, which it takes out of service for a while, we're, trying to get it back up, so it delays the process.
So when you see them, after the road has been swept, you can see a major difference, and it's a lot easier for the kids to ride their bikes and
Well, it's a mandate. We have
and
to
it's
sweep the
mandated by the
roads.
state, right?
You
The
know,
state, we have to do the roads.
They gotta do it, it's just, the quicker we can get it done, the better.
And the only thing I can say now we're on to this is that my sweeper's down right now. It's not operable. There's little wheels on it, okay, that wear out. Well, both the wheels are wore out, so I'm overnighting the parts today to get the parts tomorrow morning to get this thing back in shape so we can get it back on the road. Overnight express for parts is a ridiculous amount of money, but in order to get it going again, so we can get out there and get our job done, or try to, it's... Who maintains them? We do, but they wear out. They're
Wore out?
Yeah, they just wear out.
The
They're
truck
like a lawnmower.
with, Kirk, the truck with the brush in the front, you just use that on the main roads, right?
Old roads per se, but I got a couple of calls from Loudon Road. We did it over on Loudon Road, and we have a small berm about like that on the edge of the road, and the guy called me, wanted us to go and rake his lawn. Well, I don't have staff to rake everybody's lawn in the town of Wilton. I mean, I just got to have the people to do that. I mean, you know what I'm
You don't have time for that, Kirk?
So, I mean, my lawn's full of sand too, but I take care of my own. But, I mean, I don't know what the board wants to do. I just came across this. It's a unique situation. And in dollars and cents wise, you'll never beat that number.
What's the timing? I mean, is this thing gonna, they put it out to auction or something like that?
They turned it in, so it doesn't belong to the municipality no more. It belongs to Syncon. They own it because it's a turn-in. So I thought if it was still municipality, we could go municipality, you wouldn't have to bid for it. But that's not the case, so,
Do we know which municipality it came from?
yes.
So you can ask them if they had any problems with it in the past, or?
Well, no, I can call them and find that out. They'll go through this machine with new brooms and all that kind of stuff on it before they deliver it, should we decide to purchase it anyway, but they've been very good to the town of Wilton in respect to our old one. I mean, they've given us some parts under warranty that the company probably didn't even have to do, but they've done it. So past history with this company has been very, very positive. So,
Well, what's your thoughts? What do you wanna do?
I need those pictures back though, please, if I...
I just had a question for you, Kirk. It was my impression before that the sweepers just get used in the spring, but that's not the case, all summer long. So, do you have to go a second time to a certain road?
Believe it or not, we're supposed to sweep them twice. We sweep them once and then make it the second attempt to do them the second time, but we never get done. Just never get done.
So
And
for the spring sweeping, would you say you're like 50% done?
No. Right now, I want to feel we're maybe 30%, maybe. The bulk of our sweeping is still to be done yet, really. We got, how many, 25 or 28 subdivisions? We got a lot of subdivision roads that have the wedge streets down, so you got to have something to pick that up. You can't sweep those wedges with a regular broom. You just can't do it.
Jordan, we've been paying overtime too for one of the...
I got a guy on overtime 1 hour every day, and he's working 8 hours on Saturday now trying to get some of this taken care of. And it's hard to ask me about that, and I asked Jeff about the payroll, and I guess we're okay on payroll, so we did. Rental on the machine is $8,500. So.
Nancy, you had a question?
I'm not really speaking to the purchase of a new truck, but Joanne asked the question, how many times do you sweep? And it's interesting you bring it up, this truck business. Is it a big white truck with a little round broom?
Yeah. That's it.
No, it's got, the sides are down on the bottom, gutter brooms they call them.
Okay, they sweep around.
Yeah,
It's a
little
white truck.
Yeah, it's a big white truck.
It went through our neighborhood, Kings Mills, no less than 3 times.
Yep.
Doing the same, so how many times does it have to go down the street to get done?
You might have to go down Kings Mills up to 2 more times because the sand gets packed down and it's wet. So you got to, in order to get that up, you got to go back and go back and go back to get it up. They don't take it up, all of it, at one time.
Okay. I
So
wasn't sure if something was broken.
no. So you gotta go back 2 or 3 times to get some of the sand, and the amount of sand that we used this year is more than we've ever used, but we could have done this a couple of years and still been okay too.
So Kirk, what do you think you can buy this for? You said 130?
Can I disclose a number?
I don't know. Oh, because you got to bid it, right? You can't just buy it from this thing.
It's a used piece of equipment. There's nothing in our procurement policy stating that, we don't have to buy this. So,
Well, usually they use things, these companies rob them, usually they rob them. Usually they rob them when they take them in on trade.
They take them in for 90 and sell them for 130.
Or 75, I'm thinking.
I like your thinking.
my only comment on this is, we already have one that's 4 years old, okay? And I'm not saying that we don't need another one. I think we do.
Oh, we know.
I think we do, and they are an expensive piece of equipment. But if we buy another one that's used, 5 years down the road, now we're gonna have 2 sweepers that are 10 years old. And so you're gonna come a point in time where you're gonna replace both of them. If you guys decide to go ahead with this, my suggestion is like,
What's the new one?
money, they're probably about $230,000.
Why not just
I wouldn't buy new.
buy the used one for 130 and trade the used one, the one with 30,000 miles
Yeah, but
on
when
it?
it's
When it
time
comes
to
time to
break
buy
down,
now.
then you trade that
Right,
one in
trade that one in.
towards the new one.
You have to understand this.
Probably give you 100 grand for it, sounds like.
You have to understand this equipment. One of these, with the sweeper I have right now, has a catch vac system on it, okay? This one is a vacuum sweeper, identical to the old one, without the catch vac system. The catch vac system that we have will go bad before the regular sweeper will because of what we use it for. They're two different, they're the same thing, but they do 2 different jobs. One does 2 jobs, the other one does 1 job. And you have to understand the function of it. That's all. But if the town board is interested, I just bring you the information.
Why don't we, maybe consider having him negotiate with this, just to see what kind of price he can get on it, and then...
I've already done that. That's why I went ahead and
You can do better, Kirk, I know you. You can do better.
John, I've already done 20,000. Yeah, I'll do my best. I think I can. I think I can do better, and I'll make every attempt to do it. I will.
You can make a motion to negotiate the price.
Yeah,
It's hard not to bid for each piece of equipment.
yeah, right. So with a not-to-exceed amount.
Well, what's, we don't know the current bid, like what he said.
130.
So let's just see if we can get less.
Yeah.
$49, I probably get them down to 125. I think I can do that.
So we can make a motion to authorize Kirk to negotiate up, and put a maximum price to pay for it? Wow, what do you think?
All right. 90,000, I think he can do it.
50?
I think he can do 90.
How good are you?
How good am I? No. Got some experience.
He thinks you could get it for 90.
No.
He ain't that good.
You can do it for 120?
Probably.
Maybe 125.
I think you can do it for 120.
This time you got approval for 120, you can't go any higher than that.
No. What I would do, if you want my opinion, I'll give you my opinion. I would do the 130, and I'm not going to tell him, but I will work on it, bringing that down to 120 like he's suggesting, if I can get it done. But it's up to the board.
Does he know his meeting's on Time Warner?
All right.
120 is fair.
Well, he's not gonna see it.
120, what'd you say, John? 125?
You know they rob that stuff.
So, but why don't we give a not to exceed, so he doesn't have to come back, and then,
Right.
and just direct him to get the lowest,
I would say not to exceed 125.
okay.
I think it could be.
So John's got a motion to author, what?
I just want to hear the motion.
is to have Kirk negotiate with this, to purchase that sweeper for 120, with a maximum 125.
Negotiate and purchase.
I was saying, yeah.
Tell them in a couple of years, we'll trade the other one in on a new one.
And some spare parts that be on the shelf.
Nobody wheels and deals better than Kirk.
Yeah, right. You don't work with Jim.
John's good at it, he should do it.
Yeah. So I need a second to John McCracken's.
I'll second.
Joanne second.
All right, Joanne second. Okay, we have motion to second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. Okay. That concludes the agenda. We do have to adjourn into executive session. After the earlier training, I got to be a little bit more specific than just personnel. And
You certainly do, every week, right?
consulting with Mark, personnel involving the, you said, how did you phrase it, performance of a...
Particular.
Of a particular...
Particular individual.
A particular job?
Particular person.
Particular person. Have a motion?
I'll put forth the second motion.
First.
Oh, didn't you, okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. So moved.
It's 25 minutes.